Hi, Tom Cole, the coach for BCSN Sports Nightly. Really an honor to speak to just an outstanding basketball coach, Coach Galloway, here at Notre Dame. Coach, 16-3. Seems like every year we get the privilege to come talk to you, and it's always this kind of record. You know, you're winning the track. You're going to make a great tournament run. I mean, all these things happen year after year after year. I've coached long enough to know that that's not just luck. You know, tell us how you've put this program together. What's been your formula? What's been your template for this program, Coach?
You know, I think the biggest thing that we try to help out and instill with our kids is it's definitely an us against them mentality. There's no us against us. You know, our players have done a great job of understanding what it takes to win, you know, and also progressing through the year. You know, not trying to peak too soon or too early. We try to just continue to get better every day, and they come in with a workman type attitude and stuff to get better every day, and it's been successful for us.
Coach, that's a really interesting statement, especially they're not peaking too early. I know some coaches that are grinders that they kind of grind the kids up early, and then by the time it gets to the end of the season, when that's where you got to have it, right, the kids have been spent mid-season. How do you, in your mind, kind of get a feel for, okay, where have I pushed them too hard? Where do I have to back off? Right. Is it just a feel, or how do you do it?
It is definitely a feel. I mean, and every team is different. You know, this team came in with a lot of returning players and everything, and they had a lot of high expectations, and it was kind of a grind right away. And we were on them right away of trying to exceed something that they, you know, get a little farther than they even did last year. And so we leaned on them right away. Now, as the season went on, we also scaled back a little bit, knowing that we've got to definitely keep their interest and keep them motivated throughout the whole season plus the tournament run. So this team's been unique. Last year's team was something that we just kind of came in with like an approach of, okay, we're young, we're inexperienced, we've lost a lot of kids from the year before, let's just continue to teach and get better, and that kind of built their confidence. And then when the tournament came last year, their confidence was at all-time high, and it allowed us to make a tournament run.
Every team is different, you know that. Every season is different. Even if you have returning players that you're familiar with, it's still different. Right. Somebody gets hurt, somebody's out, somebody's not playing as well as they did the previous year, somebody else comes up and is playing well. This team, compared to, say, last year's club, both great, but how do you see them? You
know, this year's team has a tremendous ability to pass the ball. You know, I think they're probably as unselfish of a team as I've ever been a part of. And you know, we had a little tough stretch, and we lost, you know, Jada Worthy to injury for about 10 games, and now that she's back, our chemistry's starting to come back together and everything else. And our ability to pass the ball, I think, is our biggest asset, and they've done a great job of just being unselfish. You know, they don't really care who gets the headlines as long as the job gets done, and I think that's been the biggest success of our story, I guess.
That's funny when I watch you on the clips. That's the first thing that comes out, and I talked to Tiara about that. When I watch your interior passing, and she says you work on this in practice. A lot of these are set things that you do. But look at your interior passing. It almost looks like an Olympic ping pong game, because the ball, it goes boom, 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 right, you know, and the open person nearest the basket ends up with the basketball.
Right.
Taught skill, set plays.
It's more of not necessarily set plays, or it's more of a taught skill. It's more obviously having good players and players willing to do it. That's the main part. You know, we couldn't ask for a better group of unselfish players, and like I said, they don't care who scores and who finishes the play off, as long as the result is a good thing for us. And that's the first part of it. And the second part of it is understanding spacing and stuff. We talk about spacing a lot in practice, and understanding where the open, you know, player might be in certain situations, and our players have done a great job of going out and executing that in games.
Yeah, the floor spacing, you know, to me in basketball is kind of a thing that somewhat goes unnoticed by people, because if you're too close together, you know, one person can guard both of you, right, and you can't make that great pass. But if the spacing's right, somebody's open, you give them the basketball and it's a bucket. Track, your feel now, you've had a real feel for this track, and Your thoughts on the track and basketball?
You know, honestly, the league keeps getting better and better. I mean, it's been very, very competitive this year. Every game has been an absolute battle. There's been some teams that, you know, that have beaten each other one time and then lost the second time around. There's been some teams that, you know, the scores are a lot closer the next time around. I think the coaches do a great job in this league. I think the players do a tremendous job. There's a lot of mutual respect between the teams, you know, and in all, it's been a great experience, you know, being a league that's only 3 years old and everything. It's been a great experience for our players, and I think for our coaching staff, and I think for the coaches in the rest of the league, they do a tremendous job.
Coach, and I know you have great players, there's no question about that. You've done a wonderful job with your players. But give me a player that you've coached against this year that you looked at that player and you went, oh, wow, this player's really good. Give me that player, and give me a coach you coached against this year that you said, boy, you know, going up against that coach, they really know what they're doing. Give me those two.
The coach is probably definitely Sean Fleming's from Whitmer. I mean, he knows our team inside and out. We kind of come from the same similar background, so he knows what we like to do.
He knows your sets.
Yeah,
you know his sets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are they jumping in the set play before you even run it sometimes?
Yeah, pretty much. He does a great job of preparation, him and his staff, and they do a good job of executing their prep work. And they've been, I think as a team, they've been a very good team, and they've done a good job of winning close games and everything, and I think he's done a great job there. You know, and as far as the players, I'll be honest, I think there's three really good players that we've gone against all year, along with some other ones, but the top three in my book are India Benjamin from Lima Senior. She's a dynamic point guard that can score. It makes people better. She's unbelievable. Shai McCarver from Whitmer.
Seen her play. She's really good.
Yeah, very good player, very strong. Understands when to score, when to make her teammates better. And then Birdie Glaverinik from Central Catholic. You know, as a sophomore, she's really made a huge jump in 1 year of varsity basketball where she puts the team on her back, and they kind of go as she goes, and she's done a great job there.
She can shoot a little. Birdie shoots a little floater.
Absolutely.
In the key. I was watching it the other day, and I go, you know, where'd you learn that?
I have to ask Marty how he taught that.
Yeah, it's a little
she's
floater
that,
and it makes her play bigger than she is because she gets that little arc on it. It's hard to get.
Absolutely.
You know, you can't get it. Coach, you've won all the time, so it isn't the winning. I mean, everybody wants to win, but you've won, you know, across the board. But what gets you motivated about doing this every year? It's more than the W's. What, if I ask you that, what would you say?
It's being around kids that we have here. I mean, we are fortunate to have a great group of players that come in and work hard, you know, not every day, but majority. Right. I mean, you have laws every now and then, but it's a great team to be around because they're so close together. You know, they really talk about being sisters, and they really are. I mean, they really believe that, and they really do a great job on the floor with that, off the floor with that, at practice, in the classroom, and that to me makes coaching the best part of it, because, you know, obviously there's gonna be times when your season comes to an end and you gotta look back on the pluses. The biggest plus for me, no matter what happens, is gonna be being around these kids for 4 months.
Coach, it's such an interesting thing that you know, a guy like yourself, dedicated to the game, dedicated to making these young people better basketball players, but better people, which I think is even intrinsically a much better scenario. Give me a young lady that comes off the bench for you. We know about your starters. We see them all the time. Is there a young lady or two that comes off the bench that you say, you know, gosh, they're really helping us? Who would that be?
You know, I'll name a couple of them. One is senior Talia Parker, who's started when Jada was injured. Now is going back to her role coming off the bench. You know, she's a senior. She's one of our two seniors, and to be honest, she's probably come full circle in her leadership ability. You know, 2 years ago, I've never thought she's the person she would be now, and she's done a great job of helping lead our younger kids and understanding on what she has to do as a player to be successful, but even more important as a person, as a leader. And she's done a tremendous job for us. And Dorian Miller's done a great job for us as well. They're both kind of similar type players, both defensive base players, and you know, they come in, understand their role, understand what they have to do to help us win, and have done a great job for us all year.
You know, it's interesting in basketball or in any sport, the bench can teach you things. I always thought that, you know, if you really study the game from the bench or on the sideline, you get the pace of it, you get the feel of it.
Right.
If you're really watching what's going on, you can come on and be very effective. Dr. J said the most important part of his career, the highest learning element of his career when he was playing basketball is his last year. He was on a bench. He was the sixth guy, if you can believe Dr. J coming off the bench. But he was the sixth guy, and he said, I learned more about the game that year than any time in my life because he watched it from the bench, he watched the other players, and then when he came in, he knew what his role you know, needed to be. Coach, on behalf of Buckeye Cable and BCSN, every year we keep coming back, and every year you're 16-3,
Right.
and you're winning the league, and you're going to make a big tournament run, and all those things. So, Coach, keep up the great work.
Appreciate it.
Really enjoy what you
Thank
do.
you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Tom Coe, the coach for BCSN.